How's it going? This is the debut read of the novel Loretto by Gabriel, and that is me. If you haven't been part of one of these reads before, it's pretty simple. I'm just sitting here in my office and chatting about the book that I wrote or a book that I'm reading, and then reading from the book, hopefully reading well. So Loretto, a little bit of backstory. The types of books that I prefer to write are horror, science fiction, action, basically your 90s entertainment type stuff on the written word, and there should be a photo of one of my most recent book covers. I like to put a lot of time and attention into the horror, the thriller element, and my readership. I've been very blessed to have gotten quite a few good reviews on Amazon, 4 or 5 stars, so that's awesome. But I created a series called Something Special, which is going to talk about several locations from my great state of New Mexico, the land of enchantment. And these locations primarily come from notable experiences and times in my life, places that are very special to me. And the first book in that particular series was called The Healing Pool. And this one is about a location called Santuario de Chimayo, which is a very holy place. And I won't give away too much of that particular book, because I encourage you to read it if you're into that sort of stuff. And compared to my horror science fiction books, The Healing Pool was a runaway hit, and I'm pretty happy about that, because I had wrote it so people would enjoy it, and it kind of spread like wildfire a little bit. So the follow-up, which they're not sequels in any sense of the word, but follow-up to that series is one that just recently published called Loretto. And this is a story about a particular chapel in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the capital of New Mexico. Santa Fe, New Mexico is the oldest capital in the United States. New Mexico territory was a territory for a very long period of time, became a state in 1912, I think it is. I got that wrong. Hopefully history teachers don't crucify me for that one. And the chapel itself I learned about when I was probably about 10 years old. I watched a program called Unsolved Mysteries, and very intriguing location, because it is a location that has a lot of mystery behind it, i.e. there are things that happen in the chapel. I won't give away too much. Happen in the chapel and exist in the chapel that most people, including the history buffs, really can't explain how, why, the intricacies. And that could be, largely because it was came from a time where records were really not kept. But a lot of people believe that the mystery is kind of a spiritual one, a very prominent and strong spiritual one, which is the essence of a lot of New Mexico. And that's why I wrote the story, because it intrigued me. I came up with the idea a long time ago, many moons ago, when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and now I just went ahead and wrote it. So I am going to read from chapter 1 of Loretto, which is a Western-themed kind of coming-of-age story, and a good one, I think, for the holiday season. So I just realized that's a 3-minute intro. Hopefully you're still with me, because the read, I'm going to go ahead and start now. And I think that's really all I have to say about it. So let's dive into Loretto. Chapter 1. I read on my Kindle. I mean, I have, the physical copy, but I read on the Kindle because I just love the Kindle. It's so awesome. Chapter 1, 1873, Old Santa Fe Trail, New Mexico territory. May quickly grabbed her dusty cowboy hat from the side of her overturned wagon and tossed it behind one of the splintered wood planks. A shot rang out, and a bullet hit the side of the wagon, splintering tiny debris in every direction. She moved her head away, quickly lying on the wooden wagon wheel, which had broken free of the axle when she crashed. May pulled her Colt 45 close, squinting to keep the dust from her eyes. Her breathing was heavy, and it was hard to concentrate, so she closed her eyes, trying to calm down. "Simmer down, May," she whispered to herself. She was in a bad way if her hand wasn't steady, and she knew it. Another shot cracked, and a bullet hit the wagon just above her head, smacking the metal joint holding the wooden support for the canvas cover. It ricocheted away, the telltale whine piercing her ears. "Jesus," she exclaimed, feeling more overwhelmed than ever. May moved off the wheel and lowered herself closer to the dusty ground, slowly peering around the side of the wagon. She had to get a clear line of sight to her attackers before they managed to get her in their sights. She could feel the corner of her small chest of treasures rubbing against her ankle. May steadied herself, leaning into the wagon as she raised up to see if she could get a better look. Another shot rang out, and a bullet grazed the side of the wagon, splitting the wood near her face in two. She quickly pulled away, shielding her face with an open hand. "God damn," she muttered, falling back to the ground. Another shot rang out. "Damn it!" May shouted at her assailants. "You were supposed to be my friends. How you gonna do me like this?" "Friends don't shoot friends in the gut," an agitated man shouted from the other side of the road. She knew they were behind the boulder pile, waiting for her to slip up. May slowly turned in that direction, patiently looking over a greater area. If she could get him to speak a little more, she'd know where to place her shots. "And since when do lovers take their partner's chest of treasures?" the man shouted again. "You thought we wouldn't get you back, did you?" "I didn't take nothing." May moved toward the other side of the wagon, hoping she might find a better opening with more cover. She listened closely, the sound of the river cutting into the desert near the mountains in the background, clouding the sound of their movement. Another shot rang out, and a bullet crashed into the middle of the wagon, splintering bits of wood everywhere. "Damn!" May quickly moved to the far end of the wagon and slowly peered around the wooden planks. There was no opening for a clean shot. Sure, she could watch their hats peeking from behind the top of the boulder pile, but the angle was no good. She'd never get a good sight from where she was. She saw something moving near one of the larger boulders. It was a rifle barrel. May fell behind the wagon as another shot cracked and a bullet burst through the side plank. The old ride wasn't going to hold up more as a shot. The old ride wasn't going to hold up to all the shots they were firing. She could use a few of her precious bullets to shoot their horses if they hadn't already run off, but why bother? So what if they had to walk back to Santa Fe after shooting her and stealing her chest of treasures? They might die in a dusty high desert cliffside near a raging river, but that wouldn't help her much, not if she couldn't get more rations soon. She looked carefully through a large crack between the wooden planks. May squinted, seeing the top of an old Stetson visible from behind the boulder. There might be an opening and a good shot. She put her .45 away in her holster and reached for her .30 rifle nearby. She maneuvered toward the side of the wagon and inched her rifle beyond the side plank. She carefully cocked the action and aimed. Another shot rang and a bullet hit in the opposite side of the wagon, making her flinch. Come on, May," she knew the man's voice. "You didn't think this was going to go well, did you?" Edgy and coarse, his tone was impatient. She knew he was anxious to steal all she had and leave her for the dead. "Leave me alone, Bill," May yelled. "As far as I'm concerned, this is over. Take your luggers and get to stepping. Ain't room for both of us in these parts." "Come now, May. You know we can't do that." Another bullet hit the side of the wagon and May flinched. "So you just aiming to take all I got?" May yelled back. She wasn't sure if she had 3 rounds remaining in the rifle or 4. There were more bullets for her Colt .45, but the weapon wasn't accurate at a distance, and she needed to hit those bastards right between the eyes. Either way, it wasn't long before she'd be empty. May listened to the sound of the river, forcing her breathing to relax. "Already took a lot of what you got," Bill yelled. "And let's be honest, the money in that chest of treasures might make things a little better. You catch my drift?" "Oh, you son of a bitch." May raised, quickly taking aim and firing. So that's a little bit from chapter 1, and admittedly, I read my book out loud all the time when I'm writing and try to dial in, prose and verbiage and all those different things, but when you read it out loud, you're like, I don't want to say taken aback by it, but it's a little bit different reading it out loud. So, Loretto, available in print, ebook, and actually hardback, which I wish I had in my hands, but it has not come in time, so I don't know if I'm able to show you, but of course it's available. I'll probably make posts on Substack and Facebook and all that so you can see it. So, really excited about this particular publication because it's a follow-up to the Healing Pool and That Something Special series, which was really, really popular, surprisingly so. But fortunately, it's something all my family can read, because they're always giving me crap about my horror novels and everything, and they're like, "We can't even read your stuff." But this one celebrates a lot of New Mexico history, New Mexico being part of the Wild West, and hopefully people really enjoy it. And if you've made it this far in the reading, I want to thank you, because I hope to read a little bit more of this particular book. And if you didn't make it this far, I tried, right?